Hey hello everybody, it's Mirail here, and with the last Library of Ruina update before its full release, main general receptions were added. A whopping total of 6 receptions in fact. These general receptions are Gerard's Office, Mirail Life Insurance, Leaflet Workshop, Night Owls, The Judd, and Bayard. The receptions introduced new characters and expanded the city's lore, but the real reasons we beat general receptions are the rewards. So let's go over what these new guests have to offer. First off, Gerard's Office. You can invite these guests by using either 3 Urban Plague or 3 Urban Nightmare books. We get access to 2 new key pages here, a Gerard Office Fixers page and Hanafuda's page. The unnamed pages are next to useless, despite being limited pages. Hanafuda is pretty useful, however. She has stats close to those of Urban Plague Row 1 limited pages, while being an object art page herself. Hanafuda endures both slash and pierced dagger damage, but she is double weak to blunt damage. Needless to say, pure stats aren't Hanafuda's strengths, but her passives hit at creating a discard deck at Hanafuda, so attributing more Office's abilities to her might make her much better. Outside of the usual speed, Hanafuda has 2 passive abilities, Bottom Deal and Stacking the Deck. By combining these 2 abilities, Hanafuda restores 1 light and draws 1 page at the end of the scene if she discards a page. All of the combat pages obtained in the reception of John's office are tied to discarding or being discarded, so I recommend building the internal deck on Hanafuda. The deck has 2 copies of Flow at Night Hide Day, 2 copies of Relay, 2 copies of Flip the Table, 2 copies of Shuffle Hands, and a copy of Sakura. I call the deck the Intendant deck because Hanafuda fights in the library using this exact deck. While this deck doesn't have any light region, Hanafuda's passive ability stacking the deck will work fine as a light region source. Next up, Mirail Life Insurance. This reception is accessible by putting one Side of the City Row 2 Plus book in the invitation. Please note that using a Side of the City Row 1 book will send you to Don Juan, so be careful with what you use. Here we also get 2 key pages, a Mirail Insurance page and Ruina's page. Like always, the named pages are weak and worthless, so we'll focus on what Ruina can do. Outside of the usual speed 3, she has 3 abilities: Insurance Benefits, Policy Form, and Life Insurance. Insurance Benefits gives Ruina 1 light if she was stacked by one-sided attack at least once. Policy Form lets Ruina ignore all stacks of Feeble, Disarm, or Bind that will be applied to her randomly. Life Insurance is Ruina's signature passive ability and the first intransferable ability. It gives her a copy of Life Insurance in hand if Ruina is at 30% HP or lower at the end of the scene. Life Insurance, the combat page, is an individual mass attack with 1 7-10 die that inflicts 2 Disarm, Bind, and Feeble to the enemy and heals Ruina for 2 HP on hit. Her stats are fairly normal for Side of the City Row 2, being right around the proxies, but with low HP and high stagger resistance. Ruina also has a total of 3 resistances, which is really strong. She resists slash physical damage and double resists blunt damage. Her combat pages also play around discard decks, but I find them to be rather underpowered or at least difficult to understand. Luckily, none of Ruina's abilities are tied to discarding pages, so you can run whatever you want on her. Now we have Leaflet Workshop. To access the general reception, you have to use 2 Side of the City Row 2 Plus books. Here you'll get 2 key pages, a Leaflet Workshop Fixers page and Year's page. As per usual, I'm going to only review Year, the named page, as the named ones have worse stats and only a part of Year's abilities. Year's main gimmick is smoke usage. She has Puffy Broom installed immediately, and she also has a plethora of other passives that benefit from smoke and help Yaya in other ways. Those passives are Smoke Overflow, Excess Supply, Immediate Repairs, and Madness. Smoke Overflow gives Yaya 1 strength if she has 8 or more smoke. Excess Supply lets Yaya deal plus 3 damage if she has 10 or more smoke. These 2 pages let us know that we should be stacking smoke on Yaya for huge offensive buffs, and only after that we should start stacking it on enemies. Immediate Repairs heals Yaya fully recover stagger resist upon becoming staggered, basically doubling her amount of stagger resistance. Madness is a very unique ability that gives Yaya one of the following effects every scene: 2 strength, 2 haste, 2 endurance, or 5 fragile. This means that you're always at risk of becoming vulnerable when using Yaya, but you also can get huge buffs from Madness as well. To buff Yaya further, I recommend attributing Eternal Combustion Engine, Health Collar, and Liquefied Flash. Sadly, Yaya has only 3 slots for passive attribution, so it's difficult to make a good passive build on her. Luckily, Immediate Repairs can help Yaya with stagger on their own, so my Horror is not necessary here. Yaya also has an exclusive page, Exhale Smoke. This is a 4-cost melee page with 3 dice, a 7-12 blunt die, a 4-8 block die, and a 7-11 slash die. On use, Exhale Smoke gives Yaya 8 smoke, and the first die inflicts 3 smoke to the enemy on hit and can inflict 3 paralysis on hit if the target has 5 or more smoke. Yaya's resistances are pretty normal. She endures physical and slash stagger damage. Her stats are a bit low for Side of the City Row 2, but you can count her stagger as 100, so it's fine. I'd recommend to run a deck of 1 copy of Smoking Pipe, 1 copy of Inhale Smoke, 1 copy of Guardians of the Gears, 1 copy of Smoke Blow, 2 copies of Will the City, 1 copy of Smoke Prick, 1 copy of Be On, and a copy of Inhale Smoke on Year for effective smoke gain and smoke infliction. You can run Year on Resource Flow for Metallic Ringen and the Changed Lament, that is insane with smoke now. Next up, Night Owls. You can access them by using 2 Side of City Row 1 books in the invitation. This reception gives you 2 key pages, just like all the other ones. These pages are a Night Owl's page and Ellen's page. The unnamed pages are weak once again, so I'm only focusing on Ellen. Ellen's main gimmick is speeding the opponent and hitting them with Pierce dice. He has a couple passive abilities to fortify that statement: Mercy, Stiletto, and Chicken was Armor. Mercy is a simple ability that gives Ellen some offensive dice if the enemy has less than 10% of HP. Stiletto is what makes Ellen a pierce damage dealer. It gives pierce dice plus 2 power, but it also takes 2 power away from slash and blunt dice. Ellen's last ability, Chicken One's Armor, breaks one of the enemy's block dice if Ellen speeds them by 3 or more. He also has an exclusive page, Stiletto. It is a focused melee page with a 4 to 10 evade die and an 11 to 25 pierce die that inflicts 2 bind on hit. The damage of this page is boosted by the sum of Ellen's haste and the target's bind. This might seem too situational to work well, but all combat pages from the reception of the Night Owls either give haste or inflict bind. Ellen's deck is fairly easy to make, as you can go for a singleton deck with Will's Appreciate at plus 2 power, that will not only draw 2 pages but will also annihilate everything in its path. Here's my Ellen deck: 1 copy of Frontal Assault, 1 copy of Gripe Attack, 1 copy of Extract Fuel, 1 copy of Mortar Slash, 1 copy of Dagger Press, 1 copy of Fleet Edge, 1 copy of Will's Prescript, 1 copy of Frozen Weakness, and 1 copy of Stiletto. If you want to empower Ellen further, you can attribute Wedge and Jolting Punch from Pamela to him, and Quantum Leap is also an option, as you'll try to keep Ellen at high speed at all times. Run Ellen on Netzer or Tifris, for Tentacles plus Thorns or Blades Fettered by Teardrops plus Grit respectively. Our next general reception is the Adjad. You can access this reception by using 3 of the City Row 1 books in the invitation. Unlike all the other new receptions, this one only gives the player one type of key page, an Adjad's page. This key page is limited and has 3 abilities besides speed. Those abilities are Mirage, Hawk's Eye, and Haboob. Mirage heals half the stagger damage taken in a scene at the end of the scene, effectively doubling the Adjad's stagger resistance. Hawk's Eye gives 2 protection to the ally that took the most damage in the scene at the end of the scene. Haboob is not only a hilarious name for an ability, but also a strong defensive passive. After suffering a one-sided attack, the user gains 1 protection stagger protection next scene. From the abilities you could have picked up the fact that the Adjad is a page that is meant to be a tank for defensive support. Sadly, this page lacks one crucial thing that all tanks have: high HP. But who needs high HP when you're getting more and more protection every scene, and your block dice consistently around double digits? That's right, to make a deck on Adjad's page, you'll have to go all out with the new combat pages. I recommend going for Endurance over Protection, as you can deflect stagger many enemies with high roll and dual dice. To make the deck work better, attribute your shield plus liquefied flash to the Adjad. You also can attribute Keeping a Stride for block healing. The Adjad have an exclusive page with the same name. It is a 3-cost melee page with 3 dice, a 5 to 6 block die, a 3 to 7 blunt die, and an 8 to 14 blunt die that gives 2 protection to all allies on hit. By putting multiple people with this page in your team, you can ensure constant protection support for your team. Here's my deck from an Adjad's page: 2 copies of Graze the Grass, 1 copy of Sand Strike, 2 copies of Will the City, 1 copy of Caesar's Chance, 1 copy of Furcia, 1 copy of Story Defense, and 1 copy of the Adjad. This deck ensures constant block dice usage and endurance taken. You can run to Hawkman's Fall from the normality pages of the Burning Heaven. Last but not least, we have Bayard. You can access this reception by using 3 of the City Row 2 Plus books in the invitation. Here you'll get 2 types of key pages, a Bayard's Office Fixer's page and Bayard himself. Bayard has some interesting abilities up his sleeve that let him work with immobilization. These abilities are Offensive Position, Psych Up, and Rated Position. Offensive Position gives Bayard 3 fragile and 1 strength each scene. Psych Up restores 1 light and draws 1 page if Bayard didn't use any pages in a scene. Rated Position gives Bayard 1 strength to protection and 2 stagger protection if he suffered immobilization last scene. You can attribute Direction Force to him for even more strength after being immobilized. But to get Bayard immobilized, you'll have to use his exclusive page, Rated Position. It is a 3-cost on-play page that makes Bayard immobilize this scene. Next scene gives him 3 strengths and adds a copy of Pinpoint Breakthrough to his hand. But the weird abilities don't end there. Pinpoint Breakthrough is a 2-cost melee page with 2 dice, a 5 to 10 blunt die and a 15 to 24 pierce die that vents all of Bayard's stagger resist to deal stagger damage equal to what's spent. This basically insta-staggers Bayard, but deals about 50 stagger damage immediately to the enemy. That is humongous on boss fights, as you usually have less speed dice than your team, so you can redirect all attacks away from the staggered Bayard and let him get up and do his thing once again. This ability can help you on Shao and Purple Tier, especially with his Resource Flow and his ego page Regret. Here's my deck on Bayard. It revolves around using ready position as often as possible, and using Violet Blade to get double benefits from the strength from ready position, offensive position and reaction force, and then using pinpoint breakthrough. It consists of 2 copies of Virgin Throne, 1 copy of Snake Slit, 3 copies of Heal the City, 1 copy of Violet Blade, 1 copy of ready position and 1 copy of Await Emotions. And that's all I have to say about the new general annotations. They are really interesting to beat, but many of the pages are underwhelming. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave it a like to let me know about that. Also thanks to all of you for getting me to 100 subscribers, that really does mean a lot to me. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you around, goodbye.